Hey everyone, this is Sam Warren with the Houston Chronicle. I'm back with another Texans film review. This time we're going to be talking about the Texans' winning drive to complete their miraculous 19-point comeback victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in the fourth quarter. Just a week after fumbling its final drive to give the Denver Broncos a win, Houston excelled in this end-of-game scenario. The two drives couldn't have been more different, but tight end Dalton Schultz said that all that really changed was their execution. So let's talk about what let the Texans come through in this moment when it couldn't do so just a game ago. Now, the two drives are different situationally. Against the Broncos, the Texans were in that 2 minute drill scenario, tied ball game. So they're just trying to get down, score any kinds of points that they could. In this situation, the Texans are down 29-24 with over 6 minutes on the clock. So they're trying to burn a little bit of time of possession, go down, score a touchdown because they need a touchdown. If they get that touchdown, they're winning this game. And make sure that the Jaguars aren't going to get the ball back for a winning chance of their own. But these two drives start very similarly, with the Texans really not being able to execute in the pass. In this Jaguars situation, they fail on their first two pass attempts on first and second down. So they're left with this 3rd and 10 situation, which the Texans have really struggled with in 3rd and long situations so far this year. But we're going to see conversion here in this tough situation. That shows a lot of growth for the Texans offense and also backup quarterback Davis Mills filling in for CJ Stroud and his concussion. So as we watch this play, we're going to see Mills go through his progressions and then hit Dalton Schultz here on this crossing route, 20-yard gain on 3rd and 10, gets the drive started in a big time way. But as we go back and watch, we're going to see that this play, if you watch my last video, is eerily similar to the first play of the Texans' final drive against the Broncos. And in that play, Davis Mills drives a ball to Christian Kirk on an out route and almost throws an interception to the Broncos defensive back because he was ready for it, sitting on that out route, undercuts the ball, almost pick sixes it, which would have been a really bad way to start the final drive for the Texans and basically give away the game right there. But we're going to see a very similar route concept for Christian Kirk and Xavier Hutchinson to that play. Basically the exact same route concept, just a little bit longer in this situation, with Kirk running this out route and Xavier Hutchinson running this clear out route. But as we saw in that last one play, this defender is going to be really just kind of ready for Kirk to get to the out route. We'll see as this is Jerry Jones, the nickel for the Jaguars. As Kirk kind of presses vertical, he gets into that outside leverage. He's ready for him to jump to the kind of the sideline here, and he basically blankets him and takes him out of the play. As we'll see from Davis Mills' eyes, that's his first read. He's not thrown to the clear out on a 3rd and 10. So that's what Mills wants, but he knows that it's taken away. Last week, Mills threw the ball anyway. He was just trying to get it to Kirk because that was his first read. This time, Mills kind of deliberates, takes his eyes off of it, then goes back to the crosses read. So that shows growth for Davis Mills, being able to go through those progressions, get to those second reads, kind of make the play happen. He needs to make this play happen in 3rd and 10. And it's just executes in this way. But as we'll see, this is also a pretty creative play call, or maybe just a well-schemed play call by Nick Caley, because of the way that it schemes Dalton Schultz open in this situation, who becomes the second read. All the routes are kind of going to the left-hand side with Kirk running this out route, Xavier Hutchinson running this go ball, and Nico Collins coming around on this low drive concept across the field. So all the Jaguars defense is kind of flowing this way. All the defensive backs are going to get stuck on this side, and all that's kind of left for the Jaguars to pick up Schultz is Foye Oluokun here, the linebacker. And all Schultz has to do is kind of beat him with Andrew Wingard, the safety, deep here. He's not really going to be able to come down and drive on anything underneath of him. He's playing that kind of deep half, making sure that nothing's going to break deep for a touchdown. But so all Schultz has to do here is beat Oluokun to get across the field. He does that pretty well if we watch, and he gets on Oluokun's feet with his break here. He tries to grab. He's able to swim it. Then he separates with speed here. Good job by Schultz. Gets him open. Good stuff by Caley too, getting him kind of in this one-on-one with the linebacker. Good matchup for Dalton Schultz here. This isn't an easy throw for Davis Mills. He's got pressure coming in on him, and he's got to make this throw kind of off his back foot here. But he does a great job of sticking in the pocket, with kind of some of those pressure situations against the Broncos, getting a little bit happy feet, trying to scramble a little bit, not being as decisive. Here we see Mills just kind of put this throw right on the money. He's ready to go. He's going to take a hit here, get knocked down, but that's the price of playing quarterback. He makes the throw. Good situation by Davis Mills. Good decision making, everything like that. Big time throw, and it shows a lot of growth for the Texans offense, both with him at the helm and just kind of scheming plays open for their players in these third and long kind of situations. A few Texans would call that Schultz reception the spark that got the drive going, but what really got it moving was its commitment to the ground game, which is really kind of a surprise given the way that the Texans were unable to run the ball against the Broncos. They only had 5 yards before contact with the running backs out of their 61 rushing yards between Nick Chubb and Woody Marks in that game. Really just had no way of controlling the line of scrimmage against Denver's stout front. But here, the Texans entrust their offensive line to get that push and pace this drive. And that really gave them confidence. Jarrett Patterson told me after the game that Nick Caley kind of just kept calling the same run play, and that allowed them to really just kind of set a rhythm, play with confidence, and they were really happy that Nick Caley was entrusting them to make stuff happen in the run game and give them a chance to win. But talking about what that one play call is that Nick Caley just keeps kind of calling duo in this situation, which is a play that we've seen him love to use so far this season. That gap scheme with the double teams, trying to open up a specific gap for his running back. And we're going to see that on this first play here. And that's it. It really ends up being kind of a successful strategy for the Texans in this end of game scenario. So what we'll see is you see these double teams here with the center and the left guard. You've got Jake Andrews, Jarrett Patterson. Then you've got this double team here with Ariante Ursary, and that is Harrison Bryant. And you've just got this open gap. It looks like it's going to open, but kind of with this swim move here of Juice Scruggs, Woody Marks has to evade kind of this open gap here, but he's going to bounce that. And Harrison Bryant does a really good job of setting the edge, keeping his defender from getting outside. Woody gets upfield, gets a nice gain of 5 yards to get the drive going. So like Patterson said, we're going to see the exact same play call on the next play, just to the opposite side. Nick Caley entrusting the offensive line to get a push, keep this drive moving on the ground. And they end up doing that. So we're going to see those double team blocks with Juice Scruggs and Jake Andrews here. Trent Brown and Blake Fisher on the other side. Fisher has that extra offensive lineman in the jumbo package. As we'll see, this is just a open gap for this for Woody Marks to run through. He's going to get forward. Trent Brown's going to pick up this block, and he's going to get forward for a nice 6-yard gain, get that first down, just keeping the offense moving kind of up towards midfield with that duo run scheme. Now we're going to see a little bit of switch up here. The Texans keep the ball on the ground, keep things moving with Woody Marks, but we're going to go back and see some outside zone to the left on this play. That also ends up working out for the Texans offense. As we'll see, instead of that gap scheme, duo stuff, we're going to see the Texans kind of building this wall up here, typical outside zone play. And they're trying to set up, the outside edge for Woody Marks to get around, get outside. Unfortunately, that doesn't set up for him, but he's going to have that cutback lane to get upfield with that does come with outside zone. And he's going to just kind of hit this hole here, get a nice 5 yards. So Texans are getting chunk plays here on the ground, getting gains of 5, which is great for the team, just kind of keep the drive moving, keep the rhythm going. And the Texans were able to do this because they felt like they had the stamina in the situation when the Jaguars didn't. Trent Brown, after the game, said that he felt like he was conditioned and the Jaguars were tired in this moment. So they were kind of just leaning on the Jaguars, getting that push, getting upfield, and really feeling that momentum of Nick Caley and trusting in them and just coming through in this situation. The Texans would then get a first down on Davis Mills finding Jaden Higgins on a hitch, but then it's right back to the ground game and right back to duo. We'll see this with Jake Andrews and Jarrett Patterson, double team here. Trent Brown and Juice Scruggs double team here. Watch this double team here. They're just getting this push on Eric Armstead, and then Juice Scruggs does a really nice job of taking Lucan and ensuring that he doesn't get in the backfield to Nick Chubb. That gives Chubb his rushing lane. He's going to make a guy miss. He's going to make another guy miss. He's going to get upfield for 12 yards. And that's just another chunk play. Texans are really in great field position now with Nick Chubb getting upfield, getting that push in the run game. So now we're going to see the Texans get another chunk play on the ground, but we're going to see them do it a little bit more creatively. So, like we saw with that previous change of pace and the Texans going for the outside zone, it looks like they're going to do that again here with the Texans kind of all down blocking to the left. Also, Davis Mills dropping back with his left foot, looking like he's going to hand the ball off to Nick Chubb to come down through these outside zone blocks. And we see the Jaguars react to this with them kind of all getting on the eggs, trying to keep sure that Nick Chubb is staying to the inside, not going to get on the outside and get upfield with these two receivers being lead blockers into the second level. But what this ends up turning out to be is this is going to be a gap scheme run to the right with an insert. And the Texans are able to fake with these down blocks. Davis Mills is actually going to flip all the way around and hand off left or hand off to the right for Chubb to come down here. And you're going to see this gap scheme with Trent Brown taking this linebacker, trying to set up this gap here. And then you have Xavier Hutchinson coming in here and inserting to stop this Jaguars safety from blitzing, getting down in the hole. And then you also have Blake Fisher off here as the jumbo package tight end, trying to set up this gap here. And we're going to see Nick Chubb, the safety comes down. Hutchinson does a good job of ensuring that he's not going to get in the backfield. Then Chubb we see sets up this Blake Fisher block, and this is great stuff from Blake. Just driving on Trayvon Walker, pancaking both these defenders. Chubb is going to make things work after that. He's going to make Andrew Wingard kind of hold on for dear life, bring him down. That's a gain of 7. Another change of pace and creativity from Nick Caley in the run game to get things kind of moving downfield. And now they're on the 30-yard line. This Texans rushing attack has really moved the Texans offense down the field on this final drive in this situation. The Texans would pass the ball on the next play coming out of the 2-minute warning, but Davis Mills and Dalton Schultz couldn't connect down the seams. Now they're in this 3rd and 3 situation, looking for another crucial conversion. And they're going to get that through kind of an extension of the run game, getting the ball in Woody Marks' hands. So what we'll see here is the Texans it's another creative play call from Caley because he's kind of buying into his own tendencies with this, coming out in his empty set, ensuing that he's going to pass the ball or that the Texans are going to pass the ball, which they normally do in third down situations. They have a 70+% pass rate in third down. Maybe a little bit is because they play behind the ball a lot on third down, have a lot of 3rd and long situations. But either way, they do like to pass the ball on third down. So they're kind of putting a little bit of strain on this Jaguars defense by making Devin Lloyd come out here on the running back, preparing for the running back to be involved in this pass game. But then you'll see Woody Marks is going to come here on this kind of slow motion. Devin Lloyd's going to come in, but he's kind of still stuck out in this wide. He's loafing a little bit. Doesn't look like he thinks that Marks is going to get the ball immediately here. But quick snap. Davis Mills is going to pop the ball right to Woody Marks, and then you're going to see good blocks here from Dalton Schultz, kind of setting the edge from his tight end spot on the defensive end. So good stuff from Schultz in the run blocking game. He's definitely improved in that this year. And then you're going to see Big Tay Ursary pulling out from his left tackle spot to lead block for Woody Marks just to get these 3 yards here. That's really going to help Woody because we'll see Patterson is going to lose his second level block here with the linebacker Foye Lukan. And Kay is just able to kind of get forward, make sure that Woody's going to get these yards and get upfield. So this is, it's technically a pass, but it's still kind of keeping the ball on the ground. Some creative stuff from Nick Caley in the run game, and also just showing that he's going to commit to, they've talked about wanting to have that physical established presence. This is really the first time that we've seen this from them in a win where, you could say that they've won the line of scrimmage consistently in this end of game scenario. They definitely did that against the 49ers. They did that against the Ravens. They did that against the Titans. Those were kind of overmatched defenses, whether due to injury or just not up to the standard. But the Texans against a Jaguars run defense that has been stout at times this year, they were able to kind of handle themselves in the end. And that should be a big confidence booster for this Texans offensive line moving forward and this run game moving forward. And Woody Marks said as much on Monday. He said that it wasn't Caley entrusting in him to make those plays at the end. It was Caley entrusting in the offensive line to make plays for him. So a lot of trust going into that run game, into that offensive line, and they kind of showed up in this final moment here. So now we're on to the play that kind of everybody's waiting for, which is the Davis Mills game-winning scramble. The Texans had a first and goal situation after Christian Kirk got that defensive pass interference in the end zone. But like they've done kind of all year, the Texans kind of shot themselves in the foot on first and goal from the one. They have two false starts. They have a run that goes backwards. Davis Mills can't find Nico Collins in the end zone. So now you're stuck in a 3rd and 14 situation with needing a touchdown and 37 seconds left on the clock. So big time play needed here by Mills in the offense, and he makes it happen through some great decision making and a lot of growth from last week in that department. So what we'll see is Mills is going to look down to his right for his first reads, kind of on the switch concept with Nico Collins down here doing this breaking route. You have Christian Kirk on this out breaking route. But what we'll see is that kind of neither of these get open by the time that Trayvon Walker just really beats Trent Brown in his pass block set. And this is improvement right now because we're going to see Davis Mills climb in the pocket. Kind of notice that right away. Last week on the 3rd down situation on the final drive against the Broncos, Davis Mills was really locked in on his first read, which was Nico Collins on a comeback route. But the Broncos were ready for that kind of right away, the whole play. Riley Moss took away kind of any inside line and took Nico Collins out of the play from the get-go. But Mills was kind of hoping that something was going to happen. And as he was kind of staring down that route, the Denver defensive lineman broke through on Juice Scruggs, got to Mills in the backfield, ultimately chasing him and making Mills kind of force that failed dump off throw to Dalton Schultz downfield, ending the Texans' chances and ultimately giving the Broncos the ball back with 2 timeouts and allowing them to go down and score. But as we'll see with this situation, like we just saw, Mills just is very cognizant of Brown getting beat. So he's going to evade Trayvon Walker by getting up in the pocket. And now we're in the situation where Mills tried to make something happen with his arm last time when he was evading the rush, trying to get the ball out on 3rd down. But Mills is just going to be cognizant of everything. He's not going to try and force anything here. He said after the game that he just kind of sees this open lane open up for him. So he's going to try and make something happen with his legs. And he's going to do that greatly by just getting upfield. But he's by his standards, he's really not the MVP of the play. Woody Marks is on this situation with him getting upfield. As Mills kind of gets out, he's going to notice that Mills is taken off. So Woody gets upfield and draws his linebacker defender with him, giving Mills kind of this open route to the end zone. Eventually, Devin Lloyd will pick up on Mills that's scrambling. But Woody's then going to come in and he's going to box out these 2 defenders, ensuring that Davis can dive into the end zone here. So that's just great awareness by Woody Marks. Good execution by Mills on getting at that scramble. But awesome stuff from the rookie, being aware of that situation, taking 2 defenders with him, making sure that his quarterback can get in on this 14-yard scramble, ultimately giving the Texans the winning score. The Davis Mills touchdown run finally let the Texans offense finish out a win like they've been struggling to do so far this season. The Texans were 0-5 in one-score games entering the day, all 5 of their losses coming in one-score games. A lot of those losses were because of failed opportunities by the Texans offense in late game scenarios. But the Texans were able to come through on Sunday because of a lot more improvements from Davis Mills running the Texans offense, both in his awareness and his decision-making, and also a lot improved physicality from the Texans offensive front in the run game, giving them an opportunity to kind of establish a rhythm, help out Mills in that late game scenario, ice away a victory. And D'Amico Ryan said on Monday, after 24 hours to think about it, he was most proud of the Texans' ability to finish. He's had belief that the Texans can finish these one-score games throughout the season. They just haven't shown that they have the ability to do that yet this year. But now Ryan's is hoping that this win will give them faith, provide the example that the Texans can execute in these late game scenarios, pick up a bunch of wins, and that this example will give the Texans confidence in these situations moving forward, that they can pull out wins and create more wins for this team. So this has an opportunity to be a momentous victory for the Texans. Also, that puts them in a lot better position than they were probably a little bit less than an hour before this Mills touchdown run. when they were in that 19-point deficit to the Jaguars in the fourth quarter. But thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you tuning in to these every week. Please go ahead and look at the Houston Chronicle for my full written breakdown, talking about this winning drive and the runs, the play calls, the decisions, everything, diving into what we just talked about. So please go take a look, and appreciate you watching. And I'm looking forward to doing this again next week after the Texans play the Titans on the road. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.